Hi everyone and welcome to another YouTube video. This is the Apostate Prophet. I want to talk about a controversial topic that comes up whenever we talk about Islam. It is a question that is an important part of every discussion about Islam in the West. It isn't talked about as much in the Muslim world. Is Islam a religion of peace? I'd like to analyze the whole thing and see if Islam is a peaceful religion. We'll use Quran verses for that. We'll use hadiths and we will use historical facts. Afterwards, I want to talk briefly about the whole religion of peace slogan, how it emerged. I also want to talk briefly about what Islam literally means. So let's begin. Is Islam a religion of peace? If you are familiar with the fundamentals and the history of Islam, the answer to this question should be very clear to you. In Islam, Muhammad is a perfect person among all humans that ever existed. So, just looking at Muhammad, we can see what the religion itself is. Muhammad is perfect in Islam. Saying otherwise is heresy. Muhammad in his lifetime fought multiple wars. Many of them were offensive, not all of them were defensive, no matter what moderate Muslims say today. We can find this fact looking at scholars like Wahiduddin Khan, who mentions that under Muhammad's Islamic Arabia, there were more than 80 military expeditions, and Muhammad himself took part in 27 of them. The others were made under his rule by his commander. Of course, those wars were not all defensive wars. The concept was very clear. Go to a town nearby, invite them to Islam, tell them to join Islam, to embrace Islam as a religion. If they accept it, then there is peace, and the Muslims settle down and get a share of the town. If they don't accept Islam, then Muslims would attack the town. They would subdue the town, force everyone to accept Islam as their religion, and they would destroy all idols and take booty from the city. We can see this in this narration, in this hadith. If you come to a township which has surrendered without a formal war and stay therein, you have a share that will be in the form of an award in the properties obtained from it. If a township disobeys Allah and His Messenger and fights against the Muslims, 1/5 of the booty seized therefrom is for Allah and His Apostle, and the rest is for you. We can see in this hadith a fact that moderate Muslims always want to strictly deny, that Islam spread by the sword. No matter what the reason behind this, Muhammad made military expeditions and ordered to make military expeditions to go out and to convert other towns that didn't believe in Islam, that followed other religions like polytheists, that followed idols. Later he made the same thing with Jews and Christians. Once Jews and Christians explicitly rejected him as a prophet of God. As said, there were more than 80 military expeditions. Some expeditions, like Taif and Hunayn, that we can track back in history, were offensive battles. Now, scholars mention that there are reasons behind them, like former enemies running into those towns and whatnot. Muhammad still attacked those whole towns. In the example of Taif, the Muslims attacked the town. When they were retreating, the town of Taif made an offer and asked him to allow them to worship their idol Al-Lat for 3 more years. He rejected this offer. He told them that he will come and conquer them, that all of them have to embrace Islam, and that he will destroy all their idols, because the idols of those polytheists are considered blasphemy in the eyes of Islam, because they imply that there are more gods beside Allah, which justifies the destruction of those idols. That's what Islam thinks. That's why moderate Muslims today even justify things like the destruction of all idols in Mecca. That was the first thing Muhammad did when he took over Mecca. He destroyed all the idols that were around Mecca, the holiest place to polytheists. He destroyed the entire religion. Muslims justify this because they think that is the right thing to do in Islam. Well, if you are not a Muslim, that doesn't seem like a tolerant and peaceful act. Aside from his military campaigns, we can find verses in the Quran that also concern other religions, like this one. Fight those who do not believe in Allah or in the last day, and who do not consider unlawful what Allah and His Messenger have made unlawful, and who do not adopt the religion from those who were given the scripture. Fight until they give the jizya willingly, while they are humbled. So Islam basically allows and orders to subdue other religions. Scholars and moderate Muslims tell today that Islam is, no matter what, tolerant of other religions. So it allows other religions like Christianity and Judaism to exist under his rule. Well, what's the point? It orders to rule over them. It orders to subdue them. That's like, well, yes, I will enslave you, but I will also respect your right to keep living as a slave. Also, while we are here, I want to read the very next verse. A very interesting verse that clearly shows that Islam is not about tolerance and peace at all. The Jews say, Ezra is the son of Allah, and the Christians say, the Messiah is the son of Allah. That is their statement from their mouths. They imitate the saying of those who disbelieved before them. May Allah destroy them. How are they deluded? Well, this verse clearly shows us that Islam is not tolerant at all. It shows us that Islam doesn't tolerate Jews and Christians. It doesn't tolerate Judaism and Christianity. It orders to take taxes and to fight them. As mentioned in 2 other videos before, Islam also orders to kill all ex-Muslims, people who think and who make the decision not to believe in the religion anymore, people who use their mind. I am one of those people. I studied Islam and I decided not to believe in it anymore, and I deserve death according to Islam for that. So how can anyone tell me that Islam is a religion of peace and that I shouldn't criticize it? Judge for yourself. Is Islam a peaceful religion? It doesn't look like it. Now I want to come to 2 short things that I mentioned at the beginning. Why do people call it a religion of peace? 200 years ago, 300 years ago, no one would have even called it a religion of peace. No one would have called it even peaceful. Because we all see how it expanded. The expansion of all the Islam sultanates, of all the Islamic nations, of all the caliphates in this whole region didn't happen out of self-defense. Who would believe that? The Crusades on Islam were a response on Islamic aggression further and further into Christian land. How is that peaceful? So why do people call it a religion of peace? We can't exactly know when anyone started calling Islam a religion of peace, but we know that it has been called a peaceful religion ever since the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, an organization founded for the unity of Muslims against threats like Israel, announced that it works for international peace and the unity of Muslims. Later in 1996, it called for steps to present Islam as a peaceful religion that tolerates other religions. The propaganda of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation worked. After 9/11, many remember that speech. George W. Bush went out and called Islam a religion of peace. He talked about Islam and mentioned basically that Islam has nothing to do with terrorism, that Islam is a religion that is all about peace. It's funny, isn't it? George W. Bush was widely hated by Muslims, maybe the most hated president by Muslims. But he won the religion of peace nonsense for Muslims in the West. Thanks, Bush. Let's come to the final thing. Does Islam mean literally peace? This is a claim that is made not by all Muslims that I've ever talked to. Some openly say that Islam doesn't mean peace. Islam comes from the root S-L-M. That's how Arabic and Hebrew works. Now we have 2 words. We have the word salam, which means peace, and we have the word aslama, which means surrender or to submit. Just like Islam, both of these words find their roots in S, L, and M. Now it is very easy to say that Islam means peace because Islam, salam, looks almost the same. But if you go out and do some fact checking, you will find out that that is simply not true. Islam comes from the word aslama, which again means to submit or to surrender. Islam is the verbal noun of that word. It means surrender or submission. A hint: Muslim, the word for believers of the religion, means those who submit, those who surrender. We can confirm this if we look at one of the most well-trusted Arabic dictionaries, Lisan al-Arab, which was first completed in 1290. It tells us clearly that Islam is based on the word surrender. The word Muslim in the Quran is multiple times mentioned as those who surrender to God. You can find this in every translation. Related words like Islam are also mentioned in the same sense. Look at the word Muslim. Do you notice the S, the L, and the M? The whole religion of peace thing probably emerged in the last century because Islam stopped conquering everything that it comes across. You can go out and research this. You can go and look at all the facts and sources. I will provide you mine in the description. Just don't tell me that Islam is peaceful and tolerant. It wants to kill me, seriously. Not only for committing blasphemy, also just simply because I left Islam. Thank you for watching, thank you for taking your time. I want to upload new videos every Wednesday and Friday as long as it's possible. You can follow me on social media for updates, the links are below in the description, and you can also support me on Patreon because I want to make this whole thing much bigger. I want to get better equipment for all of this, so if you want to support me financially, you can do that on Patreon. Thank you very much if you want to do so. Take care and stay away from Islam.